welcome back. Soft Hands Garage is back at it. She's pretty. I'm probably just going to throw the cover right back over it, but I had to see it. It's been months. Yeah, not bad. You know, it's an engine, but yeah, it's pretty. Got a lot to do, prepping for this thing to go in. So we're going to get started on that pretty quick. I got a little bit, probably a day's worth of charging batteries and stuff around here, running bikes and trucks and things that haven't run in, well, it's been probably closer to 6 months since I've been back. And so I'm going to do all that, get everything back in order before I get on it, but then we're getting back at it. I am probably going to start with the transmission and degreasing and getting that thing prettied up a little bit before I go dropping it in, because I got to wait on parts. I want a new water pump to put on here before I start messing around with that kind of stuff. I do want to put it on and run it. So for that, I need to have I have to have belts. I don't have to have, but I want a new exhaust pipe. I want the whole thing where I can put all of that together. And of course, cooling and oil and all of that sort of thing's got to happen. But I got to have parts. You know, like I say, the water pump's just one that comes right off the top of my head. We need new oil filter cartridge, and you know, get the oil bath, air filter back, you know, all in shape, cleaned up, and new oil or old oil put in it, and ready to go on it. Probably not going to need to rebuild the carburetor. I'm not going to anyway to start with. It ran when parked 8 years ago, but I did drain it at the time. You know, probably you got some shrinkage on the seals and things like that. Things dried out, but it shouldn't be gummed up. So we're going to try it without rebuilding on it, but may end up doing that. We'll see. But just to get it started, to see, you know, get it running and everything for the first time, I'm just going to go with it as is. But, and you know, I'm sure I'll come up with more parts as I go along. I actually have a list that I started with, but I got to get those ordered. So it's going to probably be a week or two for that. So in the interim, I decided I'm going to start cleaning up the transmission, so that when it goes in, you know, this goes in, then I can just start putting the bell housing has to go on too. Oh, that's the other thing. So I need to figure out the flywheel and how all that stuff goes back together, because I really don't know. There's a balance thing where I had to have it marked. I marked it when I took it off, but guess what? This has been through a bath and painted. So those markings are no longer on here. They're on the flywheel, but that doesn't help anything. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I got to figure all that stuff out. So lots of different things that are going to have to happen. It's going to be a couple of weeks, but probably before this. Look at this. I got dust on there anyway. As covered as that was, hey, welcome to Arizona. That's what we have here. We don't have the mold. We don't have the rust. We've got the dust. No matter what you do, it's going to be there, but wipe this down. It'll be fine. Looking forward to it. Let's get going. Be cool if we could find some markings here. The need clutch information. May have to get the wire wheel out at some point, but just thought, what the heck? Let's try a screwdriver for a while. It's so hot here that this grease is pretty liquidy. So nozzle. Try this for a minute. Where do you start when the whole thing is just one ball of grease? Well, I'll spend a little time on that. If I find anything, I'll let you know. All right, I found something. I think in my excavation. See a 5. Of course, I'm in the really hard stuff here. Oh, that's GMC. 591 588. That's like another 8. No, 68. It looks like 591 568. See if that gives us anything. Found some more numbers. I guess the other numbers are just common, and you gotta actually have the identifiers in here. Work on this one a little bit. Got a little blue paint too, kind of interesting. We got a date, 60. The heck kind of number is that? Okay, A1860, so let's see what that brings me. Haven't done a temperature update in a while. Yeah, well, I got it down to about 109. It was 111 when I started. The fan on my swap cooler's not going on high, so low is all I can get. It's taking it down, like I say, about 2 degrees. Main thing is it's pumping in a little bit of cooler air to move around, because these fans were just pushing this hot 111 stuff around. Yeah, not much of a break. It's hot in here. Parts update. So this is probably about what you'd call the wiring harness, engine wiring harness anyway. I'm gonna need a whole thing, and I'm definitely gonna replace all of this. Pretty sure this is original, and I'm not seeing that it was really spliced into real bad, but it's kind of old and crunchy. Yep, I just broke that wire right there. So it's in need of replacement. You know, I got options as far as, like, you could buy an NOS, or even they make one new engine harness, but you're looking at $130 for that. And then you can get a generic, which I pretty well decided I'm going to go generic wiring harness for between 1960 and 1987. So, you know, it's generic, but GM, it's got the fuse block and everything, and I have to get that if I just get a wiring harness anyway. So if I went with the generics, about $130. Well, I go $130 for the engine harness. On top of that, that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. So I'm just gonna forego, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of making my own stuff, but at least I do have this for the example of what I'm gonna be doing. You can get what they say are for 6066 wiring harness. They're about $800. I'm not really interested in that. I've done, you know, went through an EE program, a diploma, but electrical engineering, computers and communications electronics, but specifically intentionally avoided automotive electronics. I did not, even back in my early 20s, did not have any interest in hanging out underneath dashes and doing all of the wiring stuff on autos. But I know, I get the concepts. I know how to read a schematic and all that. So I'm gonna get the wiring diagram out for it, and I got this to go off of. And so anyways, that's going to have to get purchased. I might be able to get away with something like this to start with. I don't know. I don't know if I want to just go with the old coil, if I want to go ahead and get a new coil. I definitely ordered a new, this is the first thing I've ordered actually, is the new water pump. That's got to go. I got assembly stuff still I got to do. I got the water stuff to do here, which I'm going to need new hoses for everything. So I looked these up to try and buy them, but you got to, size them and do all this nonsense. I'd rather just take the pieces that I've got into auto parts stores, just hoses. It shouldn't be, hopefully, anything too specific. Then I do have, so these were the original, or what was on it, not the originals, was for radiator hoses. This is the lower, and this was what was on the upper, and they are, goners. I'm gonna order, I actually found something. These are very little, they're short and there's not a lot of twist to these, so I should be able to find one. Found one that looks pretty close to that, and it actually says it's 4S60, 1500 even. So I didn't put engine size in, so I don't know how they know what needs to be there. But anyways, and then this, upper rad, this could probably be replaced with a solid, just regular hose, straight. And it seems to be pretty standard size. I had this flex hose just laying around. It's pretty darn close, but the diameters are a little off. Inside diameters are a little off. This is a little big. I don't know if I can make it work. I just, on this, I do kind of, like, I kind of have to have this. Look at that. She's blowed out. There's no way that this thing's going to hold up. I'm gonna try and get the lower for sure, but I want to see what I can do for that. I don't want the flex if I can stay away from it. Obviously, I got to put distributor stuff in, but I think that's going to wait till it's all in there anyway. Really, all these parts are. I got to paint them. I want them all ready, and I'll have the new, before I bother trying to put the motor in. The frame, I'm going to have all the stuff for, the new water pump, the pulleys cleaned up, these parts painted, and probably actually put on. Well, I don't know if I'll put it on. I'll leave it all probably painted and ready to go, including this canister, oil canister. Got to get a new filter for it. I got to clean up the starter. It was perfectly good. None of this stuff, nothing was not working in it when I had it going. So there'll be some things, I don't know, I probably want to go ahead and put the starter in it before I put it back in. I got the fuel pump here. It actually is very easily accessed from the front. So I'll probably wait until for that, and the distributor. Should be pretty simple to get to. About the only thing that might be kind of covered is the starter. Carburetor hidden back here. The little 1-barra there. That's ready. I mean, I'll clean it up. So I got a lot of cleaning to do, and so a little bit of painting, and a few new parts that I need to get. Like I say, the hoses I can just go to the parts store for, even whatever, O'Reilly's or whatever. So it's gonna be probably a week to 2 weeks. My son's turning 21 next weekend, or next Thursday actually. So we're going to Vegas next weekend. I'm going to do some stuff. I'm going to clean up things, but parts. I was starting on the transmission. I'm holding off on that because, to put the engine in, I got to get all this other stuff done. So I'm going to start cleaning up that stuff, painting it, getting all that thing, ready to go on all the engine stuff, getting it ready. And we're probably 2 weeks out from that before I start looking then to get the clutch. I think I've identified it. I'm going to order one. I called a clutch place hoping that they rebuild them. And he says, no, we don't rebuild them. What's it for though? And I gave him all the specs, and he comes back with the one I had already identified. He did it on Summit Racing, and I'd already seen it, figured that was probably the closest one I had, but I just hate ordering this stuff because it's still potentially not right. they just had the pictures of both sides of it. I could maybe identify it, but they only got the one side, not the flywheel side where it's supposed to be smooth, and that's where I really need to see. They got the other side. But anyways, I'm gonna have to order. It's all I can do. It's the usual game on that. But anyways, we'll see what happens. If I feel like I got enough video of cleaning and painting stuff up or doing whatever, I'll post this before I get the parts, just so everybody knows that it's back on and I'm doing things again. To be expecting these things to come out and the engine to be put in, things like that. I don't know. We'll see. I want to ride the Sporty this year, and this hasn't run right since last year. I got it running, just, you know, pouring the juice down it to kind of clean it out. But taking it off, I could just smell already the varnish, and you can probably see in there the crud that's in it, and I'm sure clogging up the passages and stuff. I'm not going crazy. I'm just gonna spray out the passages, and you know, if I had some carb dip, I'd probably do it, but I don't have anything really to do stuff with. I'm just gonna clean her up, clean out the passages, and throw it back on and hope for the best. But I really want to ride. Well, not idling great, but well, at all. But it fired right up, and it wasn't doing that. It was taking quite a bit to get it to fire, and that was immediate. Keep playing with it, but I think we're on the right track. Got a little wire brushing done. Not too bad, getting close. Just not quite gonna get to the detailing part of it to paint yet. Just thought I'd show all the wire pieces that just, yeah, hit me everywhere. I got blood all along here from it. It's work, it's real work. Not kidding around. Another project. The wife busted her mirror, passenger mirror, pulling into the garage. It'd been a while, I guess. I don't know. That was several different attempts to temporarily repair it while I waited on ordering the new one, and finally ended up just with a couple of screws after plastic repair, JB weld, and then yeah, let me just throw a couple screws in it. Looks pretty good. I mean, you know, not bad. And there's the driver's side that again was red, and you can tell if you just kind of look up in there a little, maybe look on the seam a little bit. But you know, without taking it off and taking it apart, that's as covered as I'm going to get it. But it looks good. I have no idea how durable this Plastidip stuff's going to be, but that's for now. Maybe I could hone my skills on the painting and just paint them black whenever this stuff wears off. I don't know. We'll see. It's good for now. Looks a lot better than a broken mirror. Yeah, that's nonsense. It's 94 degrees outside. It's 107 degrees in here. Crying out loud, I can't win. Well, that didn't work. It still won't idle. And with my limited knowledge of carburetors, it ended up being something I never would have suspected. In fact, didn't, and never looked at. And if you can make it out, that is tore, and that is the accelerator pump bladder. So, oh, and it's just falling apart in my hand too. Anywho, never looked at it, didn't suspect it at all. Fortunately, my brother actually knows how things work in carburetors. And now I have a suspicion, at least, that, you know, as he said, it could be any circuit in the carburetor will affect the idle if there's something wrong with it. So that makes sense. I just never really put the things together. Anyways, I got the new one, gonna throw it in there. All right, well, this is taking forever. I got my accelerator pump's problem, and my kit that I got that's just slightly larger than the original is not working. So I gotta order another one of those. And I do have my little, I've fixed for my current leak issue because I'm sick of just messing with it constantly, troubleshooting these little things down to where they go. So I'll get back to that at some point, but for now that'll work. And but I got to get that carb taken care of. And this time on week 3 of being here, you know, being back, and I'm just not touching the truck yet. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one out the way it is, just so you know I'm back, I'm doing stuff, right? I'm going to get these bikes finished. I got the big one done anyway. All the junk running again, so that that's out of the way. Then I'll get to putting stuff on the motor. I did get the water pump, but I still need a clutch before I can put that back into the frame. And that's not cheap, you know, a couple $100. So it won't hurt me to wait until middle of the month or so to buy that and get that ordered. And I got, like I say, got a lot of cleaning up to do of parts and everything. So I'll get back on that. I'll start the video. Hopefully get this bike wrapped up and I can get on all that stuff this coming week. But anyways, check back in real soon.